Masterclass, a series of digital-first conversations we do here on the show to better connect with you, the entrepreneur, and bring you the issues that matter the most to you. I'm Sananda Jayaseel, and on the show tonight, we're bringing you takeaways from a masterclass that we did around the sustainability space. Why it matters and what are some of the innovations that entrepreneurs like yourselves are doing. Let me introduce the panelists who are in conversation with my colleague, Pooja Jain. Daryl D'Souza, founder Earth Keepers Connect. Nitin Gupta, CEO and co-founder Atero. Bharka Bhatnagar Das, co-founder Green Digo.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And Barkha, I'd love to kick off the conversation with you. A question to all of our panelists, really, but Barkha, will start with you. If you could tell us a bit more about your background and how you built your sustainability-focused business. You know, clearly no small task and no one can win it all in isolation, but you took on the challenge head on. Tell us more.
Thanks so much, Pooja, for the introduction. Happy to be here. So, my foray into entrepreneurship was actually after 13 plus years in the corporate career. And I've been involved with private sector banks for the longest time after my MBA. And I was conscious of living mindfully myself and always wanted to do something that has a larger impact. And I happened to delve upon the apparel industry in India. And as I went down the rabbit hole, I realized, the horrifics of it. Our markets are laden with synthetics. And, on speaking to so many of my friends and family members who were young mothers, young parents, looking to find the highest quality and safest products for their children, were unable to do so. And that is actually the trigger which got me to start Green Digo, which is India's first GOTS certified organic cotton baby wear brand. And we make clothes that are not only comfortable and safe for children, but are also very kind to the planet.
Excellent. And Daryl, if I could toss the baton to you now, tell us more about how you got your start in the sustainability space.
Thank you, Pooja, and good evening, everyone. So I started off actually as an industrial engineer in complex manufacturing. I went through HVAC and also then into supply chain consulting. And that, over a period of 17 years, I just saw that I was lending more of my energy to an industry that was developing in a certain way, what we call, modern living, building all of these smart cities and concrete jungles. But in the backdrop, I started seeing other things happening, meaning people, losing their health, too much of pollution, congestion in the cities. And everybody is switching from what we call natural foods to, packaged and processed food. So I could see people were getting sick. I could see the cities in all of their structures and their systems, really costing the planet with using up of a lot of non-renewable resources.
Absolutely.
And that's when I decided to leave Mumbai in 2010 to come and live a sustainable life in my ancestral village in Goa, in the north of Goa, Kalangur. And in 2019, I started the New Earth Summit, which is India's first integrative summit on solutions to our problems in health, food, farming, and environment. And there, that's our website, thenewearthsummit.com. And over the last 3 years, we've had over 200 experts in this country and from overseas, showcasing all green solutions in all of these areas.
Well, both of your backgrounds are fascinating. And Nitin, I'd love to come to you next to offer us a glimpse of your personal and professional journey. Over to you, Nitin. Give us a glimpse of your story to date.
Good evening to everybody. So essentially, Atero is India's largest electronic waste recycling company and the world's sort of technologically advanced lithium and battery recycling company. Everybody at Atero, and especially me, I have a focus and a passion for the confluence between technology and sustainability, and that's what we do for a living as well. Right? From an
Right.
electronic waste perspective, what we do is we take back all kinds of electrical and electronic waste, recycle it in the most environmentally friendly manner using technologies developed by us in India and patented globally. We have like 33 granted global patents in US, Europe, China, Taiwan, Singapore, other parts of Asia, including India. And we extract pure gold, pure silver, pure copper, pure aluminum, pure cobalt, pure lithium that we put back in the circular economy standpoint. We are also the only company in the world doing electronic waste and lithium and battery recycling, which gets carbon credits per ton of waste recycled. So the United Nations essentially looked at our processes and agreed that the amount of energy involved in extraction of these metals using Atero's recycling processes is significantly lower. So ESG is at the heart of what we do. Sustainability and technology is at the heart of what we do. We are a fast growing company, growing 100% year on year, cash flow positive, EBITDA positive, and sort of we want to be leaders in the world in this space.
Phenomenal and a diverse range of backgrounds there. And that actually makes for a great segue into my next question, which I'll pose to you, Barkha, because the three of you clearly, walk the talk. But I'm curious to understand how difficult it's been to encourage others around you, whether it be peers, friends, family members, colleagues, to subscribe to that same philosophy and truly embrace sustainability in all aspects of their journey.
Sure. So that's a great question. And to start off with, I would just like to say that I think the wheels of motion towards sustainability have started moving, which itself is a very big step. Um, Consumers are increasingly getting aware of asking the right questions pertaining to, what the product is made of, where was it made, under what conditions, and we feel that sustainability is not just good enough a reason for people to consider a product, because as consumers ourselves, we go for products which are well designed, which are comfortable.
Right.
I'm talking of apparel, easy to maintain and, not too heavy on the pocket. And
Right.
we would not, uh, go ahead and purchase a product just because it's labeled as sustainable, right? It has to fulfill our need, it has to fulfill its function. So I feel that while we are a purpose driven business and we stay true to our core values throughout the supply chain, uh, customers wouldn't buy a product just because it's sustainable or organic. They want it to look good, they want it to feel good, be well priced, and if it's sustainable, that's a cherry on top. And I think that is the approach that we have taken, and that those are the kind of conversations that we are encouraging, that if it's a misconception that when people talk of sustainable apparel, it means that it's going to be difficult to maintain,
Right.
it's not okay for everyday wear,
Mhm.
or just for occasion wear, etc. It could be dull, boring, not very bright colors, etc. So we are here to kind of bust all those misconceptions through what we are doing, because we feel that this sector is not very understood. There is very little that people go into the depth of, and it's interesting to kind of see how people's perceptions towards consuming products is changing. And
Sure.
that's the approach we take with peers, colleagues, team members, customers, etc., that it is a product to fulfill your need, and it has been made in a environmentally, socially responsible way. So give it a shot. It's a good quality, long lasting product, and it has been made ticking all the right boxes, which is the price, or which is the value that you derive from it. So sustainable products are also very long lasting and durable, and that is something that people don't often realize. So yes, I think driving conversations towards consuming more sustainable products and not just viewing them in the little bubble of just being sustainable, but realizing that these are everyday products that we consume and need, which can also be made in the right way.
I'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll continue with this masterclass on sustainability and the environment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, bringing you highlights as far as what's happening in the sustainability space, and that conversation on our masterclass.
Daryl, since Barkha just brought up misconceptions, I think one of the most common prevailing misconceptions that surrounds businesses that are looking to become more sustainable is that it is time intensive, it is capital intensive, it perhaps even requires a complete infrastructural overhaul or a commitment to R&D or an upskilling or reskilling of your entire workforce. To what extent is that true?
Well, Pooja, I have, over these last 12 years now, kind of moved out of the city, and the kind of enterprise that I set up is mostly green. And I just give an example. In 2015,
Please.
I converted my own home in Goa. It was a 5-bedroom home, and I made the first hall into the reception room and 2 consulting rooms for the wellness center. That's how I started. And then after a few years of operation, I moved to a bigger space. That was already an existing center where somebody had shut down a big, Portuguese villa, and I paid them rent and refurbished the place and started, my center over there. It was actually a 4.5-acre property. So that's what I look at first as, how can we use existing resources? And we should be smart to see the first analysis is our current setup and the current resources we are pulling. We need to do an energy audit on that and see how sustainable it is. And from the city structures, what we call the smart cities, we've got an amazing video out since the last 3 months. We're getting amazing feedback on it. There are groups of engineers and citizens also working on it. It's called Making New Earth. And in that, we have shown how the concrete jungle, how it costs our health and the planet as well. So we are moving people to move from unhealthy and destructive living ecosystems to healthier and ecosystems that support the planet. And literally, we have made this a statement there that the current living systems, we do not have non-renewable resources left for another 25 years.
We have a question for our audience, and that is in the form of a poll question. I'd like for our audience members to kindly please respond to the poll. It will appear as a pop-up on your screen. And the question, we want your input. Do companies compromise on quality in creating cost-effective, sustainable products? Is there a trade-off there? Is there a compromise on quality that is unavoidable? If you could please respond, we will later tally all of your responses and come to some conclusions. Right. And, Nitin, coming to you now, since Daryl brought up lifestyle changes, I think one of the unforeseen byproducts of this pandemic has been the acceleration of digitization, of course. But does digitization and increased automation necessarily mean decarbonized? Do the two go hand in hand? And what are the implications of this movement with respect to e-waste in particular?
So very good question, Pooja. See, obviously as digitization increases, the amount of waste that gets created does increase. But that's necessarily not a major problem as long as you're able to collect that waste and recycle it in a technologically and environmentally safe manner, extract the maximum output of it, whether it's metals or non-metals, and you reuse them back during the manufacturing process, then it's not harmful at all, right? It is harmful when it is not collected properly, it's not recycled in a scientific manner, then it starts to become harmful. But I'll take a slightly more contrarian view to what the other panelists have taken here, Pooja. India as a society has been very sustainable compared to the other Western societies for a long period of time, right?
Sure.
We reuse a lot of stuff, we recycle almost everything that we have in households, right? Or we recycle everything that we have in businesses. Problem has been that a lot of time our recycling approach has not been very technologically savvy or very scientifically savvy as well. So if we just bring in that tweak of making sure that whatever choices we are making, which are very sustainable from a history perspective, we just add technology lens to it, I think India will become the most sustainable country in the planet going forward as well, right? And from a digitization perspective, the negative aspect of that, Pooja, is that during the pandemic, unfortunately, a
Right.
lot of education did happen on mobile phones and laptops, and a large part of our populace does not have access to those devices. Right? So, digitization had its positives and negatives as well. Wherein, if we sort of reuse the devices that we are not using and give it back to people who can't afford a new one, that way we can also take care of that particular problem.
Makes a lot of sense. And, I want to switch directions a bit here, though, Barkha, and I'll come to you because, as Nitin just referenced the pandemic, I think another sort of side effect of the pandemic was the intensification of the Make in India movement. And I think the Make in India movement has sort of become Make in India, but make for the world. So, given that the world's eyes are upon us, is there a new age manufacturing intelligence that you've seen develop across industries in India? And to what extent does that manufacturing intelligence prioritize sustainability?
So, Pooja, you are absolutely right in saying that the pandemic has really opened our eyes, uh, towards, like how Nitin was also saying that, about being more conscious of our footprint.
Right.
We've all been very mindful. We are all being very conscious of the way we live, of the products that we consume, and so on. However, while it's important to consume products very mindfully, I think the collective responsibility of reducing the carbon footprint and dealing with the climate crisis that stares in our face currently is a collective responsibility of brands and consumers coming together. So while it's important for businesses and companies who are into manufacturing to be more responsible, to be more transparent of the supply chain, to use more raw materials that are not harmful to human health or the environment in disastrous ways. It is also a movement that needs to kind of be hand in hand with consumers. So while consumers are looking to buy more sustainable, healthy, safer, higher quality products that last longer, um, and are good to kind of uh, hand over or pass me down sort of products that we've all grown up with. I think when all of us in our childhoods would remember how every little thing in our house was reused and
Sure.
recycled, and nothing was thrown till it was repaired or
Right.
mended, right? So
Right.
and I think it's the same that happened with yoga and Ayurveda, which was so true to our culture, and the West kind of took it over, repackaged it, and sold it back to us. And I think it's a pretty similar sort of a scenario that's happening when we talk about living more mindfully and sustainably. So yes, coming to the manufacturing part. It is very important. So I can speak from the lens of the apparel industry. Like I said, our markets are flooded with synthetics. We all know synthetics are made using petroleum. And when synthetics are broken down, they result in microplastics, which can contaminate our water bodies, our soil, and everything eventually makes the way up our food chain, causing acute health disorders and lifestyle diseases that were unheard of till a few decades back. So it's all, a vicious cycle, which starts with responsible production. If you're using hazardous materials, if you're using processes which are contaminating our soil and our water bodies, it'll lead to ill health. It'll lead to products that are gonna have a, a harmful impact on our health, as well as those of the folks working in the factories and at these manufacturing facilities. So in the end, we all look at the price of the product.
Right.
As Indian consumers, we are very used to looking at what's available at a discount. What is the price that I'm paying for it? But one must realize that who is actually paying for the discount? Is it the health of humans that is at stake, or is it the environment, or is it both? So that is I think the lens with which we have to kind of deal with the global warming situation and the climate change situation that we've landed ourselves in. And it is the small the small steps that each one of us as individuals, as consumers, as well as business owners take, that can kind of turn the wheels back on this problem that we face today.
And with that, actually, our poll results are in. And when we polled our audience, 62% of them felt, yes, companies do compromise. And 38% felt the opposite. Well, I believe that makes for a wonderful and very inspiring note upon which to close this discussion. And with that, our Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, Environment Sustainability, a step closer towards restoring our ecosystem, comes to a close.
Out of time on this episode. If you have any feedback for us, our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.